Welcome back to Games Revealed. I'm James and also Brink, and we are one. Today, I want to talk about a little game that you can steal cars in it, you can blow up gas stations in it, and you can take on citizens in multiple different ways by knocking them down, by doing other various scrupulous things to them. But it is not Grand Theft Auto. It is Goat Simulator 3. Now, is there a Goat Simulator 2? And that might be part of the parody. Who knows? This game is full on parody. It is essentially an edited down GTA that brings on the parody. You want to walk away from this judging a game by its intro kind of review. That's what you should take away from. But let's make sure we do one thing before we get deep into this review, and that is to like, subscribe, bash that bell with your crowbar now. Now let's get on with it. So, first up, like I said, this game is a parody through and through. And a lot of the examples that I hit while playing this for about 2 hours, most of the stuff I ran into I felt like was a parody of some kind. And honestly, I like references, parodies, all that to games and pop culture that I like. So I really did like seeing it, but it wasn't all roses and it wasn't like everyone hit. So let's get into a little bit of my experience on this. And first up, the opening is kind of like a parody of Skyrim. You wake up on a wagon, essentially with two goats with you, and then the farmer talking while he pulls you on a trailer on his tractor through this farm area of the world. The world is actually pretty big. It has various different areas / biomes almost. You got the Skyrim opening, and then honestly, I probably have missed a lot of other parodies in this, but I will have to say, didn't take long before I got out, headbutted the farmer that was pulling me because, he talked way too much. And they make a parody, or they essentially make fun of the opening of like, why you're still here? Why are you not skipping the intro? And honestly, when I first started it up, I was on the Steam Deck. And if you play it on the Steam Deck in desktop mode, the controls don't work. So I had to finagle with it and get it to work through bottles, and then I could play it in game mode where I had controller support. Then I was able to skip. So I had to watch the whole thing, which felt like forever. But let's get past the intro, because honestly, skip it. Once you get into the world, playing the game, hopping on those wires, grinding the wires, because you can do that kind of like a Tony Hawk kind of thing. Right even before I did that, I found a house with a granny with a yarn ball launcher. So you have to try to get up to her while she's in a rocking chair launching yarn balls at you, and every time you get hit, you get knocked down and you faint. You do this little goat fainting thing where you roll around and then you have to get back up. It takes a lot of work to kind of maneuver and feint, then maneuver, and then you can headbutt her, take her out, and then you unlock. This is the first parody. That could have been a parody, I don't know. There's so many that I can't catch everything. Then you unlock a secret level. It's in the cellar of the house, and it is Wolfenstein. Yes, you get to go into this Wolfenstein-like level, and you get to, honestly, it's more of a filter over the graphics. They tried to really make it feel like it was 2D, but you could kind of tell, but still, honestly, it was fun. It was blurred. They had a couple of pieces that just really did feel like that old school Wolfenstein first-person shooter of the early 90s. And then, of course, the enemies are additional grannies with yarn launchers. And so it was really cool to see that, get to play through that. It was fun. And then at the end, of course, you get to unlock, and I don't think anyone would be able to guess this, a yarn launching granny that rides on top of you. And that's where you get into accessories. You get into accessories, collectibles in this, and that's what makes this kind of fun, honestly. Like, there's a couple, the parodies are fun. The just wandering around the world, pestering citizens is fun. Driving into gas stations and blowing them up is fun. But getting the accessories and being able to do what you can do with them, like the granny launcher, which you can just walk around the world launching yarn balls at people. The only downside is once you put her on top of your back, it takes up like half the screen. But, it's worth it getting the launcher. Then, once you get, once I got past all of that and I started wandering around even more, I ran across this, it was just a store, just a regular store, almost like a movie rental or something like that. And then you go in and you find this Ghostbuster, essentially ghost capture device, and you grab it, put it on your back, and you'd think it was like, oh, maybe you could grab citizens or capture things. No, you just unleashes a ghost that goes out and haunts people, throws them up in the air, ragdolls them. It's fun. I don't know if it's really worth. Maybe if you have to fight some enemies, I didn't run into too many enemies except for people that were aggressive, where if I was driving and I stopped, people would just GTA me and throw me out, and I'd have to hunt them down. You got to get revenge in this game. As a goat, you just can't. You have to be the ultimate goat. You have to be goated. So the Ghostbuster piece was a fun little parody, even though it kind of didn't quite do anything that seemed related to the movie. I guess there is some ghost, or it's not even a ghost possession, but, it has possession abilities, and that's fun. But then, right after that, I ran into this area that you can then run for president. So I walk up to the booth, you put your hat into the ring of presidency, and essentially I wasn't sure what you had to do, and it was pretty obvious. You know what you have to do. You have to get votes the only way a proper politician does, and that is by sticking your tongue to them and throwing them into the voting booth. Sorry if I did ruin that for you if you plan on playing this. It was fun. Honestly, it was fun to do that, and then it unlocks a huge statue of yourself, and then you get a hat that you can put hats on other things, and it's another accessory. Once again, another really fun little thing that you can do in this game. Now, the last parody that I ran into, I was really shocked that I was able to it just was weird. But I was driving up to this area that became very smoky / foggy. And I was like, this might be Silent Hill. I go into the building, which is just like a normal tourist building. And then guess what? It's a hallway, has pictures. It has a turn that goes to the right at the very end of where you start in this hallway. Yes, it's PT. It's a reference to PT, and I was ecstatic, honestly. Like, they essentially recreated PT in a goat-esque way, where you have to go through this hallway that turns and loops through kind of like a PT. It does follow PT a little bit, but it's not nearly as scary. But this game obviously has a wider range of like who it caters to. So I don't think they could make it super scary, but I'm not going to run the whole thing with this part. There's a couple of parts that are kind of funny about it. And there are just a couple of weird things, obviously, because it's a goat simulator with like random people dancing in the hallway or noises. It tries to get a little spooky. My son, who's 5 years old, he was spooked out by it, but he still liked it. He loved it. And that's another thing I want to mention about this game is that it is fun to play with if, kids or teenagers or whoever. It's fun to get together and you can just like screw around and take turns and destroy the world or discover the world. That's honestly the two things that you really do in this game. And so let's get into the pros and cons. I'll tell you who I recommend this to and how the Steam Deck version kind of worked of it. But first up, pros. When you run into a parody that you really recognize and they actually do a decent enough job of referencing it, it really is fun. If you run into the PT one where it was honestly not the best they could have done, it still was really cool to see that and to experience and see what it was going to be like. Did it run a little long? Yes, but at the end, I like that they added it and didn't remove it. Then it's a big world to explore with hidden gems. That is another huge pro to this. Like, there is so much to explore. It's going to take you some good amount of time to get through this game and get through everything that's all the parodies, all the hidden pieces and unlockables, accessories. There's a ton to do here, and it's fun along the way if you like these types of games. Obviously, there's a very big caveat here because I think there's a lot of people that might not like this game. I'm one of those that liked it. That's why I'm doing this review. Then, finally, it's a friendlier version of Grand Theft Auto, so you can play it with your kids and adults, so whoever you want to play with, and it is co-op up to 4 players. I didn't play it co-op with my son, but we took turns and we had some fun playing it, and I also was able to play it on the Steam Deck. I slept that down as another pro, that it does run good on the Steam Deck. You have to lower it down to about medium settings, at least for me, and you have to use something like bottles. And I will do a guide on that later to show you how to set bottles up to get the Epic Game Store, which that's where the game is right now, and get it going and installed there, and then you can run it in game mode on the Steam Deck. And it ran great. So I definitely recommend this on the Steam Deck. It's a fun game on the Steam Deck because it's that third-person goat playing game that, if it was first-person, maybe it would still be fun, but like having it be third-person and be able to really see the effects of the goat while playing it on the go, in bed, whatever, is totally worth it. But there are a couple of cons. The parodies, while they are fun and interesting, they can hit, but oftentimes they miss, and even the ones that hit and are fun just aren't as good as they could be if they were flushed out a little bit more. Like I was saying, with the PT one is a great example. They could have just done a little bit more to make that just slap, do just a little bit better. But I will have to say, the Wolfenstein parody level was fun, and I honestly don't know if I'd change anything about it. I maybe add some more drops or something like that for items, but beyond that, it was fun. And then I will have to say one last thing on the cons. The fainting can get a little annoying after a while, like maybe even towards the beginning. Once you get knocked down from just some stupid thing, you'll just keep on getting knocked down potentially. Like I ran into a fan blade, and you can't get back out because you just keep getting knocked down every time you get up, so you have to respawn. Not the biggest deal. Honestly, I wouldn't knock it and wouldn't say you shouldn't play it because of that, but it was annoying after a while. Now, at the end of this, I do think this game is worth picking up. There is a lot to it, so you're going to have a good, fun time. It's fun to play with friends and family, whether or not you're doing the actual co-op or just taking turns. And then it has just so much explorability, parodies, to where if you like that type of thing and you can get away with some of the cheesiness and it won't ruin the experience for you, or just because part of the cheesiness comes from it just not being done the best, I think you'll love this game. If you can't get past those types of things, or if you go watch someone go play it on Twitch, or you can watch me play it for a little bit on my The Brink channel on YouTube, TH3BRINK, I play it for about an hour or two there. You can pretty much surmise from that video whether or not you'd like this or not. So with that, I just wanted to do this. I was going to do a quick review, but now it turned into a long review because there's a lot of fun experiences in this. And at the end of the day, if you're a serious gamer that doesn't like humor as much in their games, this definitely is not for you. If you do like games that have that silliness to them, but also have a little bit of serious gameplay at times, then go for it. And at the end of this, what I will just leave you with, if you want to see a square well, Billy the Well, and you want to rescue him, then go for it. This game's for you. Go pick it up. I'll leave a link in the description below. And once again, thank you guys for watching, and let me know in the comments. What do you think? Is this a game you're going to pick up? Is this a game you're going to wait for a deal? Is this a game that just looks just not good or in any way to you? I'm curious what you guys think. And yes, this isn't a complete review, just as a note. This is a partial review of what I've thought of it so far. So yeah, once again, I want to know what you think of it so far. And then check out all the goodies, all of the description stuff below in the description, including a link to the game that is affiliate and does help support the channel. So once again, thank you guys for watching. Check out my other videos, and I'll catch you again next time. Peace out later.